Can I ever get things done? Am I ever enough? Can I ever get things right? You hear people say things like, I am easy to live with, I don't have a problem. You need to meet people who will tell you the truth. The moment I entered into the university, I promised myself that I'm never going to answer questions in class. I'm never going to sit in front.
Okay, why do you think some people unconsciously reject opportunities?
One of the major reasons I know people reject opportunities because they don't even know that that's opportunity. If you have to be qualified for everything you will get in life, then you are suffering. Money makes you, but you need to make money first. Money is something that comes and goes. And if you allow yourself to be defined by something that comes and goes, your life will never be all right. And this is something I've experienced firsthand. Not this experience, but I've had things happen in my life and I attempted suicide 3 times. So I'm telling you from experience.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Lifestyle on Liberators Network, where minds are freed, voices are amplified, and ideas spark real-world impact. As you all know, my name is Zoe Chuku, and I am your host for the show. Here, we are all about liberating minds and reshaping our futures through meaningful conversations with amazing people who always come here to share and inspire us with their story and change the narrative of what we see and believe living well is all about. So in today's episode, we are going to be looking at a very important topic that I know it has affected the life of most young persons, and that is the issue of why is it that most persons find being well, they find themselves being unworthy of wealth or unworthy of living well or looking nice. But before we dive into today's discussion, I have a very amazing person here with me. Our guest for today's show, Miss Sophia you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
How was your journey here?
Very fine.
Wow. You're welcome. Before we move into the topic, I just want you to just give us a brief highlight about yourself.
Okay. My name is Sophia Nwafo, and I am a non-fiction ghostwriter, a digital entrepreneurship coach, and the founder of the Growth and Profit Accelerator Hub Limited.
Wow.
And I'm glad to be here. This
episode is not just going to be entertaining, it will be educative and it will motivate you as well. Okay, I just want to ask about something. Why does someone's background affect the way they believe they deserve things in life?
Okay. I'll start by saying that the first contact I believe everybody has with life is the background, right? Nobody fell from nowhere and started living nowhere. We all came from somewhere, right? So the fact that this is where you're coming from, this is where you're starting, it does a lot, both to how you think, how you see others, how you interact with the world around you. There's even the things you can do and, many things about you. I heard somebody said the other time online that someone complimented him. Someone said, "Oh, you have so much confidence." And then he said, "Why won't I have confidence? I'm loved at home." And then it hits me that if you actually look at it, you find out that most people who actually loved at home, not just loved, but giving attention and all of that, they tend to have a level of self-awareness. They are not mad if you tell them they are beautiful, if you think they are not beautiful, right? And on the other hand, people who are from backgrounds where they were always shut down, they were always looked down on, it takes a level of work to actually come up and not see themselves different from what they've always known themselves to be, right? So I believe so much that everybody's background plays a role in how they see themselves and the things they think they actually deserve out of life. I'll give you an example. Okay. If I am from a place where I am constantly, punished for standing out.
Okay.
Maybe you have, let's say you have a stepmom. And then you always come first. Let me just use that typical example. And then there is this other person who is average. And then you see that you're always being punished, accused, treated bad because you stand out, because you're a good child. It does something to you. If you leave that environment to another place, you find yourself trying not to do too much. I can actually get this done, but you'd always hold yourself back because you don't want that thing that happened in the past to repeat again. And most times we actually do it without knowing. And this is something I've experienced firsthand. Not this experience, but I've had things happen in my life and I move out to a different environment and I didn't even know. Because the thing about this whole background thing and mindset thing is that most times you don't even know you carry it.
Yeah.
Right? Until one of the days I just began to ask myself, and I think it was the Holy Spirit, right, who just brought it to my knowledge that why are you actually, let me just mention it. You've never seen me in front of the class. You rarely see me.
Yeah.
You rarely see me. And that's because growing up, I was always that girl who wanted to be serious, sitting in the front of the class. I was doing well. And the moment I entered into the university, I promised myself that I'm never going to answer questions in class. I'm never going to sit in front. Most people didn't know that I was actually intelligent until when the GS results came out and I got all A's, right?
Wow.
Most people didn't even know I could speak or I could do anything until I became president of the department.
Yeah.
That's because I just wanted to be in that space where nobody knows me. Let me just do school, make money, and be out of here. Unfortunately, God had other plans, and I'm so grateful for that, right? And I think that's just basically it.
Oh, that's very amazing.
Mm.
Wow. So let's say for some persons that are not really working hand in hand with the Holy Spirit, you said something about the Holy Spirit questioning you and you getting back on
calling my attention to me.
For some persons that don't have any relationship, or maybe some of them that don't even have anyone they talk to about all this issues, how do you think that they can be able to navigate?
Okay. The bitter truth is that sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. And why this particular thing is tricky is that most times people that are in such situations don't even know. They don't realize it. Because if you realize it, it will be, and you know that this is, is affecting you, it will be easy for you to actually walk out of it. But when they don't know, right, and that knowing is actually where the problem is. And I think they just need friends, or they need a company that can actually point this out. Oh, you have low self-esteem. Oh, don't say that, you deserve it. They need a level of exposure that brings them to the point where they begin to see things differently. Because if they remain in that environment, I don't know how they are going to even realize that this is not the right way to think. People would think that money. I was speaking to somebody last week, and he was telling me how he never believed it's possible that someone can sit right in front of you, you speak with them for 30 minutes, and then you hand them over 150K. Wow. And I'm like, people pay $1,000 for consultation and even more. But somebody is struggling to actually accept that money is that easy to make. Now, this person doesn't even know that this is a problem. What happened to him is that he went for an event. Now he's sitting in a room where people are actually talking about it. Now he's asking himself questions like, really? People are actually doing this? And you see his deliverance is coming gradually from there. So I believe so much that exposure plays an important role. Like, you need to leave that environment. If they leave that environment, that's where their deliverance starts. And then secondly, their company. Right? Their company, their association will also help them actually figure out that this is not nice, this is not a place to be, and help walk them through it.
Okay, that means both you say something, exposure, being exposed can open your eyes to see
that this is where you are, and it's not nice, and you need to be out.
And the company, the set of persons that you move around with. Okay, why do you think some people unconsciously reject opportunities? Any opportunity that comes their way, they always reject it unconsciously.
Unconsciously. That word unconsciously is actually a lot. And I think, with or without your consciously, one of the major reasons I know people reject opportunities because they don't even know that that's opportunity. And I believe that's where the unconsciously is coming. Because if you know that this is an opportunity, this is sweet, this is going to be good for you, go for it. But most times we don't even know that this is opportunity. Okay, you see a call for volunteering. People are called to volunteer for an event, for a role in a company and all of that. Someone sees it as, oh, this is an opportunity to grow, to explore, to meet people, right? And probably take it a step further with their career from there. Another person sees it as, they are going to use me. They are going to take my time. They are going to waste my time. I rather go do something else than work under this person, right? So they fail to realize in that moment that this is an opportunity that not only offers them learning, but exposure. And I believe that most, when you hear people say things like, don't work hard, work smart, or don't just work hard, make sure you work smart, it's because people who really make it out of life are not just hard workers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
In fact, starting with your normal school exams, you agree with me that you don't pass exam because you work hard.
Yeah.
Because if you read what is not in the course outline, that's you not working smart and you're going to fail. Right? So I believe that people need to even realize that this is an opportunity to be able to take advantage of it. That's number one. And then secondly, I think is lack of preparedness.
Okay.
Because when you are not prepared, you are not confident. When you don't have the necessary skills, even when you're being called for something and you're promised money, right? Promised a lot of things, you feel like you're going to flop. You're going to fail. So what's the need of going there? You hear people say it's like, let me not go there and embarrass myself.
Yeah.
So I believe first is not being prepared. Secondly is not even identifying that this is an opportunity. Yeah. And I feel exposure also solves that, because if you're exposed to knowledge, if you're exposed to certain things, you would not see opportunities the wrong way. You would see opportunities as opportunities, and you'll be encouraged to go after them.
Wow. But do you think people like this, they can try to relate all those things happening to maybe their background, the way they were trained at home?
Yeah, it does too. It does happen. I've seen people who had opportunities to, earn more. Yeah. Let's say like women, for example, having an opportunity to earn more, to be promoted at work, but they don't want to go beyond that because they had an experience that altered the way they view women who are successful. Okay. In that sense of it. So I believe that yes, someone's background has the ability to, affect how they view opportunities and how they actually go after opportunities.
Okay, that's really amazing, and that leads us to the next question, and that is, how can past trauma influence how a person feels they earn or achieve in life?
Okay, you mean how past trauma affects how much a person believes they can earn? Yeah, that's the question. Of course, the thing about trauma is that when you're traumatized or you're in that space where you have trauma over anything, you are distant. You're forced to take yourself out of what caused the trauma. You don't want to see it. You don't want to be reminded of it. However, you end up hurting other people, right? It ends up affecting other people. So somebody who has been traumatized in the past for whatever reason, probably when it comes to achievement, how emotional abuse, verbal abuse, because they are trying to do stuff for themselves or trying to actually, especially in that line of money and all, what it does to them is that if peradventure they find themselves in a new space, in a new environment, they are forced to respond to that experience without even knowing, right? That's why you find that you see some persons in their place of work interpret things in a way that makes you wonder, how are you even thinking? And that's why if you understand that trauma affects people, you're going to, give more excuses for people. You're going to pity people a lot because a lot of people, I believe that every one of us at some point or the other have faced a level of trauma. Like we have trauma to deal with. It's about whether you even recognize it. It's about whether you've dealt with yours, right? And if you don't have it yet, so long as you're relating with people, you're going to have things, that it's not just about the intensity or the depth of it. But I believe so much that trauma is something that at some point or the other, everybody has to, face. Now, for this person who is traumatized for whatever reason, you find them in a place of work. Every other person gets corrected. They get corrected. They interpret it differently, right? They get a feedback of work. Maybe they say, this is not good enough. And in their head, they interpret it as, this is so bad. You are useless. You are good enough. You can't do anything, right? And I'm saying this because it's something I've experienced as well. And they don't even know, because the way they see it from their point of view, oh, he just bashed my work. Oh, he just said that I did rubbish. But another person who understands feedback, gets a response, and they pick up, oh, what do I need to adjust? But this other person is drowning in that depth of, oh, can I ever get things done? Am I ever enough? Can I ever get things right? So trauma, of course, affects how much a person can. It affects everything it affects your relationship, your relationship with work, your relationship with money. And sometimes you don't even know. which is why we need that. We all need to be in that place where we are watching out for ourselves. You hear people say things like, I am easy to live with, I don't have a problem. Is it that you are really easy to live with and you don't have a problem, or you just haven't realized
that you have
you have lots of problem? And if you have lived alone, and you've lived with people, you agree with me that at the point where you were living alone, it felt so sweet. It felt like you were a very good person.
Very.
Until you started to actually live with somebody and relate to them. If you become a leader, you're going to find out that you're not as good as you think. You know, if you get into business, you're going to find out that you're not as good as you think. Yeah, so definitely trauma affects our relationship, and because it affects your relationship, it's definitely going to have a toll on your finance.
Okay. Yeah. And that is also applicable to people, no matter whatever thing you want to achieve in life.
Yeah.
So far as you are you've really been traumatized, yes, it really affects whatever thing that you are putting in.
Exactly.
But is there any way this set of persons can try to come out of it?
Exposure. There's no magic about it. You have to know. Whether you call it discernment, whether you call it, you have to actually come to that understanding.
Yeah.
That this is where I'm interpreting my boss's feedback is because I'm responding to something. And that's why I always encourage people at all levels to go for growth. Don't ever come to the point where you feel like I know it or I don't need to grow anymore. Because the more you seek knowledge, the more you are going to find out things about yourself that are not even supposed to be, that are not right. It's not bad to have trauma. What matters is, do you even realize? Are you ready to work on it?
Okay.
That's where the problem is. That if there is you can't wake up one day and then it just falls on you. You need to be out. You need to meet people who will tell you the truth, who will tell you that it's actually this, you've been traumatized in the past, maybe from experiences, like people who have lived with somebody who maltreated them in the past, verbally abused them and all of that.
Yeah.
If they move out to another environment and somebody yells at them, they see beyond what is happening. They think, you caution somebody for doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And they see that you are cautioning them for being wrong instead of what they did. And that's trauma. If you look at it very well, you're going to trace it back to previous experiences they've had in the past. So I believe that the exposure plays a very good role when it comes to anything, environment, anything, trauma, because if you don't know, how do you even work on it? Yeah. So that's it.
Then, what really help persons? Some persons that are experiencing this trauma, persons that experience the issue of not feeling worthy good enough for achieving anything in life. So, what do you really think can help this set of persons move from just surviving at that particular moment to feeling confident and secure about themselves?
Okay, I would go back to what I said before, even though I may add other things now.
Okay.
The first is exposure.
Yeah, okay.
This exposure may not even always be about you living an environment. It's about you coming across a content that speaks to you. It's about you coming across videos like this.
Yeah.
That now you're hearing them give instances of somebody being cautioned by the boss, and now you are thinking, I actually think this way, right? So first is actually to understand that I have a problem. And it's not bad to have a problem. Everybody has a problem.
Yeah.
It's now whether if you're, it's about whether you're ready to deal with it. Secondly, to understand that that's not the end of it. You can actually work on it. Because some people come to that point where they feel like, oh, so this is why I'm acting like this. Oh, no problem. Let's keep going. No. You need to realize that you still have a whole life ahead of you. And no matter how much time you think you've wasted, if you decide to pick it up from here, you have a long way to go and you'll still be able to do amazing things, right? There is this lie most people have in their head about change, about doing better. Is the lie that I've wasted so much time.
Yeah.
You won't even know that. And in that period, no, you're not hearing anything anybody's saying because you believe that time is gone. But if you give yourself another chance, if you love yourself enough to give yourself another chance to actually walk out of that situation, you're going to look back years
later
to come and find out and even ask yourself, why did I think I didn't have time? When I was younger, I did stuff that I had lots of low self-esteem. I don't know if lots is a very good quantifier now, but I had very serious esteem issues. And at the point where I needed to actually improve, to make changes, to listen to things, that would help me become a better person, I felt that I'd lost relationships. Because the thing about low self-esteem is you're going to lose people. You're going to feel like you don't deserve people. You don't deserve good things to happen to you.
You don't deserve to stay around.
Somebody compliments you and you feel like they're insulting you. Because you feel like, what are you saying? Right now, I got to that point where I felt like, even if I decide to change now, imagine, I was around like 9, 10, 11, 12 years then, and I'm thinking it's too late.
9, 10, 11.
You can imagine, that's somebody that has a whole life ahead of her.
You can't think of it, that person's, they're even in their 20s.
Yes,
they've even realized all this.
Exactly. And it's still early. I mean, maybe not early, but if you decide to start today, you're going to look back and find out that it wasn't as late as you thought it was, no matter what you think you've lost, right? So I've mentioned exposure. I've mentioned loving yourself enough to realize that you have a whole life ahead of you.
Yeah.
And if you decide to actually heal, if you decide to work on yourself, it's going to have an amazing end. The third thing I think I want to add here, which may also be the last, is the people.
Sorry, I would love you to look at them directly and speak to them about this too.
All right. The third is the people you surround yourself with. If you find yourself in a circle where they are always looking down on you, they always think you're not qualified. You tell them things you want to do. I want to try this. I want to start a business, and they laugh at you.
Yeah.
People who always laugh at your insecurities. You say you want to become a model, and then they're looking at, there are people who give you honest opinion, but there are people in your life that they always criticize you. They always think you can't deliver. You need to leave that place, because whether or not you feel like, no, people around me don't influence me, they are influencing you. You just don't know until you leave. So you need to actually observe your circle. If you're seeing yourself in any of these lines, like these things we've been discussing, first of all is get exposed. And you're already doing a good job by being on this channel. Second is to actually do what? Love yourself. Decide to give yourself grace, to give yourself another chance to get things right, no matter how bad you think things have gone in the past. And the third is to start to observe your environment. Who is that person who always, makes that voice louder in your ears that you're not good enough, that you can't earn more, that you can't do a better job? And you need to get that you don't need to be qualified for every single job you do in life.
Yeah.
That's suffering. If you have to be qualified for everything you get in life, then you are suffering. Sometimes we learn on the job.
Yes.
So if you find yourself that every single role you stepped into, you were qualified, 100% qualified, it's either you are suffering or you started too late.
Wow.
Because why? Right? So you need to start observing your circle, the people around you, and find out who is, not helping you in this regard, and how, try to figure out how to actually get out of that space. Because if you do, it's going to be a lot easier. The journey will be a lot easier for you. Yeah.
Oh, like this section has really, really been very, very wonderful and amazing. And I think our listeners too, something is transforming in their minds. The way the way they saw and think about deserving some things. Because most persons don't, they feel like you trying to want more of something, trying to want more, whether success or trying to want more of love, they feel they don't deserve it. So I really think everything you've listed here, both loving yourself, the exposure, and surrounding yourself with the right circle of persons, will really, really help them a lot. And before we wrap up everything, I just want to ask the last question, which is, how can someone build a sense of wealth that is not just dependent on money alone?
That's a very tricky question, because I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Sometimes if you have no money in your account, and you have a business idea, you have a plan, you're trying to set it up, like write down things, how you gather a team, the location and all. There's a way you move, like if you have not worked on this thing, you're going to move shaky. You're not going. You may not even be happy. Have you not noticed that there are times you get alerts on credit alert, and suddenly you don't even know, you just become happy?
Yes,
for no reason. Even if it is a debtor that paid you, it is still your money, but you just find out that you're happy. So I think that's a very tricky question, but I would still say that if we are going to have a sense of self-worth that is not dependent on how much we have, then we have to actually understand who we are.
Okay.
You know, and I believe that if you have a good sense of self-worth, it's going to, we discussed it, it's going to affect how much you make. It's going to affect how much money you can handle. Right? You know that you are not a substitute for wealth. You know that wealth is a tool you are supposed to be using and not something you give in exchange for yourself. I'm not going to give certain examples, but you get what I'm saying. Right? So we need to actually come to that place where we realize, where we understand who we are, where we understand the value that we have. And value is internal. Value can also be built. The fact that you're a human being, after series of competition, you're here. I mean, when it comes to biology and all of that, you're here because it's a lot that goes on behind the scene. You're here. You need to understand that that's value in itself, right? The fact that you are learning things, you're going to, school, you're learning skills, you're trying to become a better person. That's value you're adding to yourself, right? And if you have a full idea of this whole thing, it's going to affect how you approach money. You understand that money is something you have to make and not something that has to make you. Money makes you, but you need to make money first before it makes you. Because if money makes you, then everything about your life is going to be, money is going to be your Lord. You're going to worship money if money makes you. Money makes every one of us. You don't even know somebody is so beautiful until they touch money, right? Definitely. So money definitely makes every one of us, but you need to be that person who handles money, that person who makes money, and not that person who money just makes. And I want to include it here because if I don't add it, I'm going to be lying. How do you even know who you are? How do you even know your worth? Because that's the question. You need to find that, you need to understand that every single one of us here on earth, whether we want to accept it or not, we came from a source. We came from somewhere. And that's what you need to find out. If you decide that it is Allah that is your source, go find out your who you are from Allah. If you say it's Jesus, you need to go find out who does Jesus say I am. If he says I'm beautifully and wonderfully made, then that's what I am. If he says that I am good, then I am good. If he says that I am blessed, then I am blessed. So you need to understand who you are as a person and understand that money is a tool. Money is something that comes and goes. And if you allow yourself to be defined by something that comes and goes, your life will never be all right. Because trust me, so long as we are in this world, we are going to have fluctuations. It's about whether you fall flat completely or you fall to a level or you rise very high or you are just there. But definitely, we are going to be in motion. Right? And you need to realize that you can't allow something that is always fluctuating. So it's not fair on yourself to allow something that comes and goes, something that is fluctuating, define you. Because you are also going to be fluctuating. That means when there is no money, you are useless. That's how some people commit suicide. I attempted suicide 3 times, so I'm telling you from experience. Wow. Right? We're not going to go into that, but I just needed to mention it.
It's kind of shocking.
Yeah.
Like to hear that from someone like you, though.
Okay. I don't look like it, Abby.
No.
That's part of it. But honestly, people commit suicide because they lost a relationship and their whole life was defined around that relationship. Now the relationship is gone. They think I have to go. What am I living for? They lose a business, they lose money. And now the money is, because the money is gone and their whole life was defined around the money, they think they have to go too. So you see why I said you need to see yourself different. See this thing, begin to see this thing as a tool. Money is powerful. You may not even know what is in you, the tendencies in you until you touch money. Some people think that they are humble, they are modest because they are poor. Some people think they are humble because they are poor. It's when we give you money, that's when we know if you are
your true character will come.
You know, and money does not. I believe so much. I mean, of the school of thought that believes that money doesn't change people. Money brings out what is already in them. If somebody touches money today and suddenly they are no longer greeting you, they don't want to be your friend, you were never a friend before to them, right? It was just circumstances that brought you people together. If somebody becomes arrogant today because they touched money, it wasn't necessarily money that made them arrogant. That thing was already in them. It was just looking for opportunity to express itself, right? So I believe so much that if we become people who conscious, because this thing you have to do it consciously. Money is powerful. Money has a voice. Money has influence. You need to intentionally watch yourself to understand where you are when you're beginning to define your life around your job. That's how people lose their marriages, because now the money comes first, the job comes first. But if we have that distinct line, if we have that line clearly drawn for us, we are going to be able to set proper boundaries and, handle our lives better. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That has really, really been very much amazing. So I really think all of this is more about personal decisions that you have to make, because you talked about being intentional.
Yes.
If you're not really intentional with it, you might try it today, try to stick to the principle that can actually lead you to becoming better. You might try it today, then
it doesn't work, and you
just give up on it. Because I think a lot of persons that are really passing through this issue, it's not like they are not putting effort to do it. Most persons, you will ask them, they will tell you they've done different
tried
things. Yes, but they don't have this level that they are just very much intentional about it. And what role do you think God to do play in something like this?
Okay. Before I talk about God, you mentioned something about people starting and stopping. I want to say that everything about life requires patience. And that's where love for self comes in, because if you love yourself, you'll be patient with yourself. You went through an experience, or you were in a workplace, in an environment, in a family that traumatized you for 8 years, and now you want to just be fine in 1 month. That's not fair on yourself. You need to give yourself grace. You need to give yourself time. If there is anybody who used to have very serious anger issues, they will tell you the truth, that anger did not disappear in a day. It was deliberate effort. That now I need to speak, but I'm not speaking, and it's painful. It's pain. You want to heal. There is pain in healing, and also there is pain. When you have injury on your leg and you're going to feel, a level of pain, right? So you need to be in that place where you actually understand that a lot has happened to you, and you need to give yourself time. And then talking about the role that God plays in this whole thing, I'm the full expression of the role that God plays in this whole thing. I told you I attempted suicide 3 times. I stood in the mirror and told myself everything I saw on YouTube. Oh, you are beautiful, you are intelligent. And then when I still live, I don't feel beautiful. I don't feel intelligent. Right? Until I learned to stop just making positive affirmations and started understanding that this thing I'm saying is not positive affirmation. It is truth. If God says I'm beautiful, I don't have to convince myself. It's something that is already there.
Clear.
I just need to agree. Because why people make positive affirmations? I am whole, I am this, and their life is still, their inner self is not even agreeing, is because they think positive affirmation is a word you have to say to yourself until you believe it. You have to believe it first before you say it to yourself.
Wow.
You have to believe that God does not lie. We are talking about God now. God does not lie. You also have to look at people like myself, and not just myself. If you check around, I believe there are a lot of people who eventually became rich and all. They all have stories. And most of those stories, they'll tell you about how they struggled with self-esteem. So listen to those people. Listen to the role that God played in their life, because how God will do it for me may not be exactly same for how he would do it for you. But one thing that is constant here is the word of God. God does not lie. If you want to know who you are, want to know your place in life, please get into God's word. Oh my God, just stay there. Give it time. Stay there. You will be amazed at how bold you become. You'll be amazed at how you begin to see yourself. Those days, I would wake up in the morning, go straight to the mirror and abuse myself and tell myself, I told you about the suicide thing, right? I'll tell and then all of those times it flopped, it didn't work. I'll just keep telling myself, I hate you so much. If not for one thing, I would have killed you. I don't know why you don't want to die. I tell myself, you were good, you are foolish, you are stupid.
So when all this was happening, were you staying with people?
Yes, I was. I was staying with people, and that was also
none of
part
them
of
noticed.
The thing is, then I don't know if I don't think I'm a teenager now, but back then I was a teenager. Most teenagers you see, they act in a certain way. They want to suddenly start going out, suddenly start mingling with a set of people, right? And you see them, you think it's because they are bad. Oh, this girl is wayward. Oh, look at the way she's going. Most of them are responding to trauma. So back then, how I expressed it physically was stubbornness. What you say I should do, I will not do it.
Wow.
You know, I just didn't, I will not respect you. That one you said I should not do, that's what people interpreted it as stubbornness. And I didn't even know. It's now that I know better, that I've been exposed to knowledge, that I now understand that those petty attitudes I had back then was because I was traumatized and I was trying to react. I was trying to be strong to show that I'm not weak, that you can't beat me down.
That is where the stubbornness
actually came from. So people react to trauma, and part of it can be, you know, trying to act like they are stubborn when they are not stubborn, and trying to act like they are bad when they are not bad. So just so that they can scare people and all of those things. So I believe so much that if you know, bring yourself to that space where you understand that God wants to help you and allow God to help you, then God is going to help you. And first of how God will help you is through his word. I don't know if there is a help of God outside his word. He's going to, you need to pay attention to the word, and from that word you're going to get exposed to the things you need to know to get it right. You're going to also receive strength, because it's definitely not going to be an easy one, even in as much as we are saying it this way. So you need strength, and that strength also comes from spending time with God and in the word of God, right? Yeah.
Okay, it has really been an amazing conversation with you. But before we conclude the whole thing, I just wanted to throw a word of encouragement to a set of persons like this. What will you have to say to people who are either traumatized or will definitely be traumatized later, or people who or
in the process of healing?
Yes, who are in the process of healing.
Okay. First thing I'd like to say is that you're not a bad person, right? Things just happen to you. But the fact that things happen to you doesn't mean that you should just stay back there pitying yourself, because if you stay back pitying yourself, it's still not a sign of love. It's still not wisdom. And that's because time is going. You have a whole life ahead of you, as I said. And if you want these remaining days to be beautiful, it's up to you. You need to make that decision to heal. It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of rising and falling, you know, but you need to decide to keep going. And it's so beautiful that when you eventually heal, it's not like you wake up one day and you're healed. You're just going to look back and you find out that those things that irritate you before, they no longer, you know, have that effect. Those things that you hear and you're mad, those you hear about men and you are mad, you hear about whatever and you're, you know, you feel a certain way, you find out that those things, you can't even find them anymore, right? So just love yourself enough to realize that you need to work on this thing. And then secondly, give yourself time, and definitely the juice will be worth the squeeze.
Wow. Thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate this time I had with you, even though it's not too long, but at least this few minutes that we spent together, I've really got a lot. And I believe that our listeners too, their mindset have been resetted. Something about them have changed. So thank you for coming today. Before you go, I'd just love you to drop your handle for people that will want to go and know more about you.
Okay, my name is Sophia Wanfo on Facebook, and on LinkedIn I am Sophia Oluchi Wanfo.
Wow. Thank you so much for coming, and catch you guys on our next episode. For now, bye.